Businesses everywhere are racing to automate every department they can, chasing a dream of frictionless, total efficiency. But that pursuit of perfection is beginning to crack under the pressure. The primary promise driving this rush is the belief that an algorithm can eliminate human guesswork. The theory is that by replacing managers with data, businesses finally achieve pure objectivity. The physicist Stephen Hawking famously described intelligence as the ability to adapt to change. Yet in the corporate world, artificial intelligence is often deployed in a way that is incredibly rigid. In practice, these systems are failing the very test of objectivity they were purchased to pass. Automated hiring platforms have been caught filtering out candidates based on their diverse backgrounds, while marketing algorithms have restricted promotions and services based on demographic prejudices. When customers realize a company's systems are treating them unfairly, the trust between the brand and the consumer evaporates immediately. The technology businesses adopted to eliminate human error is now actively institutionalizing it, creating massive hidden risks for every company involved. To fix this, we have to understand that an AI does not think. It is simply a mapping tool that identifies patterns across enormous sets of historical data. Imagine a company feeding an algorithm 10 years of its own hiring and sales records to teach it how to identify a successful candidate or a high-value customer. In this visualization, those historical records appear as individual data points. If the people who made those past decisions had hidden prejudices, those biases show up as a heavy cluster right here, favoring one demographic over all others. The AI doesn't view that cluster as a flaw. It sees it as a rigid mathematical rule to be replicated, drawing a boundary that effectively locks out the more diverse data points. Once the data is ingested, the system enters its processing phase, often referred to as a black box model. The internal logic is now completely hidden from the outside world. These internal calculations become so complex that even the original developers often cannot map the logic behind how a specific decision is reached. This creates an immediate accountability crisis. If a customer is denied credit or a candidate is rejected, the business cannot actually explain why the decision was made. A black box trained on flawed history mathematically guarantees prejudiced future outputs, hiding discrimination behind an impenetrable wall of code. A second layer of risk emerges from human behavior. What happens when corporate leadership falls into the efficiency trap? In a rush to cut costs, many businesses remove the human in the loop, allowing the software to run entirely on autopilot to save time and resources. This leads to immediate consequences: generic content, a lost brand voice, and customer interactions that feel cold and untrustworthy. But the deeper danger is that without human oversight, that hidden algorithmic bias becomes a permanent corporate action, executed at a massive scale. When businesses prioritize absolute efficiency over human editing, they transform a productivity tool into a liability engine that actively harms their customers. The real-world fallout from blindly trusting these outputs is severe, leading to significant reputational damage and the total destruction of market trust. Companies are also facing escalating legal liabilities as international regulatory bodies crack down on violations of data privacy and fairness frameworks like GDPR. Fixing this requires businesses to move beyond treating AI as an IT tool and implement a multi-layered governance model that embeds ethics into the entire decision-making process. This means investing in explainable AI, systems designed to force transparency into the black box and demand accountability for every output. The final step is restoring permanent human oversight to provide the empathy, context, and responsibility that an algorithm cannot possess. The most successful businesses of the future will use AI to enhance human productivity, but they will never use it to replace the essential human responsibility of judgment.